Let's see what the agent has to say. Oh my God. 712 days on the market. Here's what the agent had to say about it. Vacant, sold as is. Thanks for telling me about the house here, Paul. Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the weekly deal analysis here in the Corner Barn. I am Chris Thompson, that bearded guy, the creative guy. Each and every week, I jump on here, pick a random house on the internet, analyze it for a cash deal and a creative deal. Let's get into it. This week, we are sticking with Alabama, 1945 Gibson Street in Montgomery, Alabama. This thing looks destroyed. There's no pictures on the inside, and it kind of scares me a little bit. So let's dive into this thing and see what we can find out. We got a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, a little over 1,000 square feet, built in 52. And they're only asking $45,000. So it can't be much of a house, especially for 1,000 square feet, but it does look like there's a big garage back there. I don't know if that's the neighboring property, but we'll dive into that here in a second. You got a lot of big trees over the roof. Those would have to go. And because there's no inside pictures, I'm going to say that this thing needs a full rehab, everything. But we're going to pretend that there's no mold. There may be, there may not be, but we're just going to pretend that there's not for simplicity. So let's see what the agent has to say. Oh my God. 712 days on the market. Here's what the agent had to say about it. Vacant, sold as is. Thanks for telling me about the house here, Paul. Seller's not motivated, agent's not motivated. 700. That's incredible. Sad, really. But let's see what else we can find. Dishwasher, gas range, gas water heater, fridge, washer dryer hookup. So this really isn't telling us much of anything, but it's clearly a 1 level, likely on a slab or a crawl space. Wood siding, not my favorite. What else? What else? What else? All right, here's some details here. So they had it under contract in December, and that obviously didn't work out. So now they're back on the market in January, and they've just been sitting there ever since. Looks like it was renting for $595 back in 2000. Somebody actually paid for this thing. Wow, $18,500 back in 2017. So the property taxes are very reasonable, 408. And even using that rental number of the 595, 1 month's rent is going to cover those property taxes. So that is always a benefit that I look for. All right, what do we got going on in the neighborhood? We got a lot for 45. Like another lot for 6, maybe. 5. Got to be a lot. 11, that's got to be a lot. This is 56 over here. All right, 56,000 sold in April of this year. So let's take a look at this thing, and it'll give us a decent comparison. Their square footage is pretty close. Oh, goodness, that's ugly. Your dryer vent. All right, so that gives us kind of a ARV. So keep that number handy. What else we got over here? 35. Sold at the end of last year. Don't be much. 32, when did this sell? 22, and that's no good. Bum, 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 bum. All right, I think this 56 is probably going to be our best comp. If it's real close, check this one just in case. Too old. About splits. Some homes off market. 85, 51, 60. Newer stuff. Roughly the same square footage. 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. And this is in Montgomery County in Montgomery, Alabama. Here's the zip. That'll come into play when we check you know what site. All right, so I think we picked off as much of this information as we could. So now let's head over to the Invest Nest. Here's the Invest Nest, and I love this site. It is super, super simple. You can do property searches. That was my dashboard. Literally just plug in the address anywhere in the US, deal pipeline. This is basically like a mini CRM. So everything that I pull up shows up in here, and then I can save it, skip trace it, analyze it, make an offer, go under contract, so on and so forth. Then I can either archive it if the deal falls apart, or I can add it to my portfolio. Definitely a bonus. Plug our address in and analyze this thing. All right, so here's our property. We're not getting an estimated rent off of that. All right, so Two Properties LLC. So this is another investor. Yes. They've owned it for 8 years. Owner details. This is one of the things I love about the Invest Nest. You can skip trace directly in the system, and they don't charge extra for it. My link will be in the description below, and I'll get you 50% off your first month and your first week for free, so you can try it out to see if you actually like it. All right, let's calculate. We're gonna call this one 195 Gibson Street. All right, our purchase price. So ultimately, I feel like new, shiny, and pretty, our ARV is going to be probably right around that 45,000. But if we look back at our trusty Zillow here, and where was that comp at? 56. So I think we could probably push it to 50. Might be a little bit higher, but I think we'll stick with that 50. So we know our ARV is going to be 50,000, and I'm going to offer, I mean, this is going to be a joke of an offer, and I don't even know if I can get a lender to do a loan on this thing because the price is so low. But let's analyze it and see what we come up with. So our ARV is going to be 50,000 times 70%, which gave me 35,000. And ultimately, I think it's going to be probably another 25,000 in renovations. So we're going to roll those into the cost because lenders will do that on an investment property. So 70% of our ARV is going to be 35,000. I think there's going to be $25,000 worth of work to be done in here. So it's probably not going to work, but you never know until you try, right? So knock 25 off of that 35. What's that give us? $10,000 purchase price. $10,000 purchase price. Our closing costs, we're going to factor at 4%. Our hard money lender costs are going to be 2 points. Our improvement cost, we're going to roll in of $25,000 and roll them into the loan. And they'll probably require about 25% down, which is comical because that's only 87.5. Rate, they're pretty high right now. So let's run this at 8%, and we want a 30-year amortization on it. All right, rental numbers. So we jump back to Zillow. Zillow is saying, Zillow's not even giving us a rent price on this thing. But we know that back in 2020 was about 600. 5 years later, well, and this is where we have to go in and check HUD. So let's jump over to HUD and see what they say. So I have it pulled up here on the HUD website. This link will also be in the description. Super great site, very user-friendly. You plug in like 3 pieces of data and it spits out all of this information. So here's our zip code. This is for an efficiency, 1 bedroom, 2, 3, and 4. So they're saying 1260. That's a big number. That's almost double what I was kind of thinking it would be. So let's play it safe and just call it $1,000. How about that? All right, so our projected rent, we're thinking $1,000. And again, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Contact somebody local in that market that knows what they're talking about. I've never even been to Alabama, so I don't know that market. Property taxes, insurance is going to be cheap, management fee. Our tenant's going to take care of these costs, all of our utilities. So this is my war chest: maintenance, repairs, vacancy, and CapEx. So repairs and maintenance, we can probably exempt this right now because we know we're going to go in and renovate it. But for these purposes, let's keep 15% in that war chest. Appreciation, rent increase, on the back end. We're real estate investors. We don't pay full commissions. All right, ready to see what these numbers spit out at? Boom. So for just under $10,000 out of pocket, you're gonna net 422, 423. Not bad. That mortgage payment, oh, things like a Honda Civic car payment, isn't it? All right, so cash on cash return is phenomenal. So is the return on investment. Again, that's at a $10,000 offer price. It's been sitting there so long, they may jump on it. Who knows? So we got our management fee, our property taxes, our insurance, our reserves for our war chest. This is one thing that I love about the InvestNest website. It breaks all this stuff down for us. So, I mean, this thing is just incredible. If you can get it for that price, bravo. Now we're off to the fun part. Let's analyze the creative deal. This is my creative calculator. You can get it off of my website, christhompsonteam.com. The link will be below. I got a ton of resources on there that you can just download and use. So I got to go clear out from the last analysis that I did. All right, we're clear there. All right, so we said our ARV was 50,000. Our purchase price, remember, we're going creative here. So I think we're going to kind of flip the script up here and actually offer them. What are they asking? Let me go back to that. Sorry, I forgot that number. All right, they're asking 45, and we think our ARV is going to be 50. So let's offer them 50. We'll offer them a sweet 2% interest rate. And to figure out our PITI, we're going to jump over to bank rate. I love bank rate. It's pretty phenomenal. So we're going to analyze here. And again, link will be below. So our home price is $50,000. We're not putting down 20%. You know what? We're going to offer them $1,000 down. And the zip code was 36110. Here, property tax, check the best. Property taxes are about $35 a month. Pretty close. 35. 100 for insurance. All right, let's see what this says. So our PITI, oh my goodness, $181.11. And that is our principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's what PITI stands for. Just an acronym. Or excuse me, our principal and interest is only 181. So our total payment is going to be 316. Shucks. So now that we have our 316 number, we're going to come back in and plug this over here for 316. Our potential rents, we said were about $1,000. Gross cash flow, almost 700. Our net cash flow after our war chest and our management, 434. That's a deal I would buy. So our cash to the seller, we said we're going to give them $1,000 down. That agent, they're not doing anything. You know what? We'll give them $250 just to get out of the way so we can close this deal. No assignment fees because I'm keeping everything in-house and I'm not getting it from a wholesaler. I'm buying it myself. Closing costs, 4%. Renos, we said were 25,000. Holding, that's 2 months of that mortgage payment. Arrears, nothing there, and a good TC to make sure all of this works is $1,000. So for roughly $30,000, which is a big jump because remember, we rolled our renovation costs into that other loan. So we'll see. So this takes a little bit longer to get that return on capital that I like. I try to keep it under 3 years, have all of my money out of it so that it's an infinite return. So playing with this a little bit, if we're really good at negotiating, we can get the seller to finance the renovations. What do you think? Should we try that? And then that's going to say, change this to 0. And our purchase price is going to be 75. Now we're only $6,000 out of pocket and we get all of our money back in just over a year. I like those numbers. Now, how does all of this work? Drop a comment below and I'm happy to explain everything. I can do another video on it or just answer your questions in the comment section. So there is our cash and creative analysis at 1945 Gibson Street in Montgomery, Alabama. What are your thoughts? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear what your thoughts on this are. Am I crazy for trying to throw these numbers out? Do you think it's a good fit? Either way, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Weekly Deal Analysis here in the Corner Barn. I am Chris Thompson, that bearded guy, the creative guy. We'll see you next week.